Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon or Ascendant, the last 2 weeks of March. I hope you are well. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot for you today. So, if you haven't seen these before, we do things slightly differently for the mid-months, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. I think that there is a lesson, or indeed wisdom, contained in every experience and interaction that we have, if we are open to seeing it, and too often we're not. I mean, sometimes we see this, you know, with hindsight, we can look back and see that a very challenging situation that we were going through a year, 2 years ago actually led us towards something else. But this is an exercise in perspective. This is about trying to get out ahead of that so that you can kind of have more of a sense of it now than, you know, in the future. That's the idea, at least. So to that end, what we're going to do is pull 3 cards for your current energy, like an energetic snapshot, and see where you are right now. And from there, we will pull 3 cards to see why you are in this energy in the first place. What is it trying to teach you? What is it trying to show you? Sometimes it'll be trying to show you something about yourself. Almost every time, actually, to be honest. Other times it'll be showing you things that you know, are trying to exit your life and how you should let them go, or things that are coming in and how you should embrace them. You know, we won't know, like I said, until the cards hit the table. We'll close out with 3 cards of advice. I mean, there's no reason why all of those might not apply, or something altogether different. You know, we'll see. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sure it will by the end of the reading. Let's get 3 cards for Libra, please. Well, there we go. We have got the Queen of Wands. We have also got the 5 of Pentacles in reverse and the 9 of Wands. And let's get one more card for you, please. Thank you. We have 2 of Cups. Interesting. We've got the Hermit card at the bottom of the deck, and I'm kind of struck by it, how it feels like relationships are quite stressful for you at the moment, or at least have been recently. And that may be one relationship in particular, or it may be a number of relationships that you're experiencing. Either way, you know, there's a sense here of you kind of wanting to withdraw, wanting to retreat. And I think possibly to get your energy levels back up. You know, this Queen of Wands here feels like an aim that you have rather than what you are actually currently experiencing. Although that may be building as I speak, I feel like perhaps that energy is coming back to you somewhat. Because the Queen of Wands is all about, she's a very dynamic character. She's very, very emboldened, very energetic. But it's interesting to me that it's the Queen rather than the King that's turned up here, because if it was about what you wanted to do, you know, the things that you actually wanted to do in your day-to-day, then we would expect to see the King, because that is the active expression of fire energy. Right? Don't get hung up on gender. Tarot doesn't care. We have masculine and feminine energies within us. And ideally, what we want to do is be able to balance them both. The thing is here that the Queens are receptive. Right. So we've got a receptive yet active character. I feel here like this is you wanting to have the strength to be able to deal with what is being, what is kind of unfolding at you at the moment. It does not feel to me like it's about you personally. Like I said, I feel like it's about the relationships around you, and you know, perhaps there's a lot of stress going on with other people, which you feel affected by, and almost in some ways kind of powerless to assist with in any kind of meaningful way, right? The Queen of Wands is an aspiration for you. I want to get to the point where I can deal with this, you know, and perhaps turn that Queen of Wands eventually into a King of Wands where I can more actively assist. But the preservation of your energy seems to be really quite something that needs addressing here, Libra, because we've got that 5 of Pentacles and we've got the 9 of Wands there. Now, again, this feels kind of aspirational rather than what might actually be happening, although I feel like it's kind of working in slowly. Because this 5 of Pentacles in reverse. Well, let's start with it in the upright, because I kind of have this feeling for most cards, not all, but most, that they can't appear in the reverse until they're first kind of presented in the upright. So at some point recently, you have felt like this. And this card deals with poverty, it deals with lack or a fear of that, right? Somewhere where your basic needs are not being met is often indicated by this card too. But sometimes it's about putting effort and energy into things and not getting any kind of, level of reciprocity from it. Not that we give to receive, but that you've been investing in a situation and all it's really doing is just exhausting you. Now, the fact that this is showing up in the reverse is really, really quite good, because this is an inherently unstable energy. 5 energy cards always are, like certainly the minor arcana at least, very unstable. So the most stabilizing thing that you can do is have it appear upside down, right? This indicates getting on top of a situation where there was lack or fear of lack, poverty or fear of poverty, something like that, where you perhaps once felt isolated. Now you're kind of getting on top of that feeling. And we've also got the 9 of Wands, which talks about resilience. Again, it feels aspirational here, like I want to be resilient, I want to be able to take care of my needs. And maybe some of you are actually managing that at the moment. But the Hermit card at the bottom of the deck could well indicate that the internal dialogue that you have had with yourself, where you have realized that you've not been taking care of your needs, where you found that other people's situations are kind of affecting you quite strongly, and where you have felt like you weren't resilient. Now these things are coming into bear. And again, with this 2 of Cups here, it does seem to be about the people that are around you at this point rather than you yourself. Although you may well be learning something about yourself in the interim, because the 9 of Wands also talks about boundaries, and perhaps your boundaries have not been in the right place when dealing with other people. Perhaps you have allowed other people's situations to affect you more strongly than really was wise in the circumstances, I have 3 cards. Why Libra is in this angel, please. Okay, so we have the 4 of Pentacles here. We also have the 6 of Wands. We have the Ace of Cups, but it's come out in the reverse. That's quite interesting. And one more, please. Oh, that's 2. We've got the Page of Pentacles and the King of Swords. Pick those up. There we go. What do we have down here? We've got Judgment. Yeah. Okay. I can sort of see where this is going now. So the Judgment card deals with lots of things. I mean, it can deal with situations from the past, right, that have revisited in some sort of way. Maybe one of the people that you're having to deal with is somebody from the past. But it can also talk about your judgment of the situation, like the decisions that you make. And maybe you feel like your judgment has been compromised of late for whatever reason. Possibly it might be because there's been somebody from the past who has needed you or kind of limped it onto you or something like that, right? Now we've got the 4 of Pentacles and the 6 of Wands here. And what's quite interesting about this is that usually with the 4 of Pentacles, we have this notion that things need to be released, things need to be let go. But I'm struck by the fact that there are no characters here on this card. There are just the 4 Pentacles. And that we have already seen the 5 of Pentacles for you. Now, 4's foundational level energy, right? It's about building foundations. And in this instance here for you, this seems to me to be talking about what you need to hold on to rather than what you need to release. And because your needs have not been met here, this is about showing you where you need to guard your energy, where you need to take care of yourself, where your foundation is important, even if it's not being observed as such by other people. Right? We've got the 6 of Wands there. This is where your victory lies, right? Taking your pentacles back from wherever they had been and stacking them up in front of you so that you can see what you actually have to work with. Now, this, I know I'm talking in kind of slightly abstract terms here, but money, care, effort, love, anything that you can invest at this point, which is being invested into other people, not necessarily for no reward, but certainly, with nothing being given back. I mean, this needs to be reviewed by you, because maybe you can do more. And I think this is quite strong. You can do more if you do less. if that makes sense, right? It might just be for a few of you, but do more, do less to do more. In so much as if you try and spread yourself out too thin, you're going to exhaust yourself very, very quickly. Whereas if you take care of yourself and you do not expend energy in places where, you know, it's just exhausting you, then for the things that really matter, the things that are really important, the things that are really foundational for you, you have more energy to put into those, right? Now, the Ace of Cups in reverse is quite interesting because what we would like to see is this in the upright. But I feel like there's a lesson here for you in investing outside of yourself rather than inside of yourself, right? I think this whole situation has been showing you where you do not take care of yourself. And maybe some of you have been being pretty rough with yourselves about something. You know, this talks about compassion and forgiveness and a gentle approach to oneself or other people. When it's turning up in the reverse like this, I feel like some of you have been flagellating yourself. Hopefully not physically, but certainly like energetically or emotionally over a situation that you feel responsible for. This is not necessarily coming from a place of deep emotion. It's coming from a place of responsibility and duty, a real overemphasis on should and must and those kind of words, rather than I choose to, because I want to, because I can. You know, there's something quite restrictive about the way that you have been dealing with a situation, and it's time to start kind of pulling that back to you. We've got the Page of Pentacles and we've got the King of Swords here. Now, Pentacles, again, energetic currency, time, care, effort, money, love. Like, the pages for me talk about a shift in a direction, right? It's not about starting again, as we see with the aces. It's about taking something that already exists and kind of moving off in a different direction to it. So where you put your energy needs to change, Libra. What you choose to invest in needs to change, because you don't actually have very much left over. You certainly don't have anything left over for yourself by the end of this. And then look at this King of Swords, and he's pointing directly here at this Page of Pentacles. It's like he knows. This is the thing. The King of Swords is all to do with decision making, thinking clearly about things. Okay? Maybe you can't think clearly about things at the moment because you are too spread thin. Right? The King of Swords is saying if you want to make the best kind of judgment that you can, you need to start investing differently, investing less in other people and a little more in you. This is very valuable. It's a very valuable approach for you, Libra, because I feel like we've spoken about this. I think this probably might have come up in the main reading for you for March. Let's get some cards of advice. We have the Ace of Swords. We have the Five of Cups. Some advice for Libra, please. We've got the Hierophant with the Seven of Wands. And one more, please. That's two. We've got the Magician at the bottom of the deck, and that's important, right? That's Gemini or Virgo energy, depending on how you read, right? But you've got doubles of advice here. I only asked for 3 cards and I've ended up with 6, and so we read them together because that's how they want to be read. All right, so we've got the Ace of Swords and the Five of Cups here. Like, the truth of the situation, the way that you are being asked to shift is to look at this. I mean, and for some of you, I feel like what you are doing in the here and now is trying to fix something from the past, something that you regret, something that you feel that you might have lost or that you did incorrectly the first time. It's almost like you're trying to fix an old situation by what is in front of you. And the fact is that these situations are different. And it's important for you to be able to discern between these two things. We have the Hierophant and the Seven of Wands here. Now, the Hierophant is the card of tradition. It's a card of doing things the same way. Now, what are you trying to do now the same way as you did before to try and guard against or protect against the same situation happening again? You know, it's kind of messy thinking a little bit here, and I feel like you can't think straight because you are spread far too thin at this point, and the clarity doesn't come, that Ace of Swords doesn't come, the King of Swords does not come until you can actually sit and think objectively about what you are trying to achieve and the way that you are trying to do it and why. You know, I think all of those things go hand in hand for you here, because we've got the Death card and the Knight of Cups here. You know, things need to change. And realistically, well, you know that doesn't mean that the changes won't have consequences. We know that. But I feel for you, the benefits far outweigh the negative consequences that come from taking this back from you, right? And in fact, all of the negative consequences will revolve around the self-talk and the way that you see yourself. Like, all of this is asking to be renewed with you, right? And where are you hard on yourself in a way that you wouldn't be with someone else? Like, these are conversations that it seems like the energy is kind of pushing you to have with yourself at this point. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this was helpful. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.